Well, this is my third try at this. This is the Preacher Man, Hellfighter Preacher Man, coming at you from chilly Iowa. I believe it's going to get up to 0 today. It was 10 below this morning, or maybe 12 below. I can't remember. It was cold this morning. It was 6 below when Black Dragon's broadcast came on. Anyway, the question is, how do you do the long rides? How do you do the long runs? How can a guy do an iron butt run? Because that's just as far as I've ever ridden. Some of you have never ridden over 300 miles in a day. I understand that. Some of you ride 500 and you think that's a lot, or 700, that's a lot. I think Sturgis for me is just shy of 700 miles, and we run that in a day. How do you do that? Well, the first thing is to make sure you dress right. Your clothes are very important. Here in Iowa, it gets cold. I have a run I do to Laurel, Mississippi every year. It is 960 miles from my front door to the mission at the cross. I will leave very early in the morning. A lot of times I'll leave at 3:30 in the morning. That way I get down to Mississippi at a good time and I get to ride in daylight. But the problem with that, it gets very cold here. I've had some runs where it's been 30 degrees when I've left, and so I put on my polypropylene underwear, my jeans, a long t-shirt, a heavy wool shirt, my leather jacket, my vest, a balaclava or something like this, you know, they go up over my face, and a full face helmet, and then I just ride. Heavy gloves are important. Very good heavy gloves, and I have heated grips on my bike. And yeah, I know, I'm getting soft. I am looking at the possibility of buying heated gear. That's how soft I'm getting these days. But make sure you dress appropriately. If you're going to do a long, hard run, make sure that your bike is in tip-top shape. Go through it. Have a mechanic go through it. Check your tires. Tires are really the least expensive piece of safety equipment that you can own. Tires are so essential to have good tires. Make sure your tires are properly inflated. Make sure your engine is running. Make sure that there are no problems. If you have a nagging problem on your bike when you start out, I guarantee that bike is going to fail you on that long ride. And so check out your bike. Make sure that it is up to tip-top shape. Third thing I do is plan my route carefully. I do not like to ride through Jackson, Mississippi. I'll let you know that right off the bat. I've had a friend killed in Jackson now. I've almost been killed 2 or 3 times by drivers who just don't know how to drive, to be honest with you. And I could tell you some interesting stories about some things I've seen. But I plan a route that actually takes me through Jackson, Tennessee, and then through Tupelo, Mississippi, and takes me into the backside of where I want to go. But I plan that out. Do I ever get lost? Ask my guys. Their favorite phrase is, "We need a new road captain," because I have been not lost, but maybe a little confused from time to time. The fourth thing you need to keep in mind is your mindset. If you're riding with a friend, that helps, because we were riding one year and my buddy had not ridden long distances. He was the first president of the Iowa Falls Hellfighters. In fact, I was his VP. And he said, "You know why I didn't quit on that ride? Because you were right next to me. And I knew that if I quit, you'd give me all kinds of crap." And that's true. Plan it with a good friend. You can bond over the miles. You really can. Big T and I, with our unit, have ridden thousands and thousands of miles right next to each other. And we bonded. We think alike when we ride. That's what it's like. So find a good friend to ride it with you. It's always good to have a good friend. Fifth, take some rest stops. Don't I used to beat myself into the ground. Stop when you get gas. Now, I do one gas and go if I'm going alone. I will run hard, and I can get about 250 miles out of a tank of gas. I will run hard and I won't get off the bike. I'll just pump that gas and using the card and just be gone again. Just take off again right away. That'll get me down the road about 500 miles. And that's halfway there. But when it comes time to quit, listen to your body. Get off the bike. Make sure you hydrate. Get yourself some water. I carry water with me, but I also go into the convenience store wherever I get my gas, and I get a couple of waters, and I will drink 2 waters when I've gone my 1 gas and go. I will walk around. I will move my legs. I will do some squats. I will get my legs working well, and then I talk to people about Jesus. That's what we do. The last thing to keep note of is no matter how rough the ride gets, if you're going to make a long, hard trip, don't give up. Don't quit. You realize you are capable of more than you think you are. You can do more than you think you can. You may have to take a longer rest, not too long, because then you won't want to get back in the saddle. But you will have to rest yourself a little bit, rest your mind, but never give yourself the mentality that, hey, I'm just going to get a motel here. I'm just going to quit. I'm done. I'm done riding for the day. If you do that, you won't complete the ride. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong. If you don't think you're up to it, don't do it. But buck up, buttercup, or suck it up, buttercup. That's really what we say. Tough it out and finish the ride. It's easy to quit when you're 150 or 100 miles from your destination. Very easy to quit. And so I want to bring this into a spiritual discussion as well. In your spiritual life, don't quit. I'd like to take you to Philippians chapter 2. He says this in verse 12, or Philippians chapter 3, I'm sorry. Verse 12, the Apostle Paul says, not that I have already attained or am already perfected, but I press on, that I may lay hold of that for which Christ Jesus has also laid hold of me. Brethren, I do not count myself to have apprehended, but one thing I do, forgetting those things which are behind and reaching toward those things which are ahead, I press toward the goal of the prize for the upward call of God in Christ Jesus. I press on. Don't quit in your Christian life. There are times when you'll get weary. There are times when people treat you badly. There are times when you will think that life has just thrown you a whole box of lemons. That's not the time to quit. Press on. Keep on going forward for God. Never quit. Never surrender. Never accept defeat. You keep pressing on. Little poem I've come across that I keep in the back of my mind often. I got it in print big enough for me to read with my glasses. Poem says, don't you quit. When things go wrong, as they sometimes will, when the road you're trudging seems all uphill, when the funds are low and the debts are high, and you want to smile but you have to sigh, when care is pressing you down a bit, rest if you must, but don't you quit. Life is queer with its twists and turns, as every one of us sometimes learns, and many a fellow turns about when he might have won had he stuck it out. Don't give up, though the pace seems slow. You may succeed with another blow. Often the goal is nearer than it seems to a faint and faltering man. Often the struggler has given up when he might have captured the victor's cup. And he learned too late when the night came down how close he was to the golden crown. Success is failure turned inside out, the silver tint in the clouds of doubt. And you never can tell how close you are. It might be near when it seems afar. So stick to the fight when you're hardest hit. And when things seem worst, that you must not quit. Don't quit. Don't give up. Don't surrender. I've always realized that I had one more punch left in me. I had one more step left in me. I had one more mile left in me. If I just press on. And you know what you find? You find that if you do the hard run, it ain't so bad. Years ago, our founder, who's now with the Lord, noted something about a run I did. I did an iron butt down to Mississippi, ran it hard. That year I was disqualified for the award because I turned in my paperwork and they said you did not take enough time between this checkpoint and this checkpoint. We promote safe traveling, and your speed does not promote safe traveling, and so they disqualified me. Paid my money and didn't get my prize. Next year I did. But anyway, that year I rode down in what I considered record time. And according to the Iron Butt Association, it was record time. And I get down there, and I'm not a very good guy to just sit around. As I'm down in Mississippi the next day, I gave myself an extra day because I didn't know how hard it would be on me. And so I go into the shop, and I ask them at the Hellfighter USA shop. It wasn't Hellfighters USA at that time, but it was a motorcycle shop. And I asked them, how far is New Orleans? And they said, oh, we don't know, maybe 170, 200 miles. I said, okay, well, I'll see you tonight. And so I hopped on my bike and rode down to New Orleans. I did two things. I got a sweatshirt for my wife, and I ate seafood. And that's all I wanted to do in New Orleans, and see the elephant. I get back, and our founder looks at me and says, you are one crazy guy. You're a crazy man. You ride 1,000 miles down here yesterday, and you decide that's enough. You hop on and go 300 miles more today, and that day it was really hot. And that's another interesting story I'll tell at another date. What do you do when you have to go to reserve on your fuel tank, and you're hitting that bridge at Lake Pontchartrain? Well, that's another story. Hey, I hope that you've enjoyed joining me today. I hope that you try to do something beyond what you think you're able to do, because I know you can do it. Whatever you do in life, whatever endeavor you take part of in life, whether it is in motorcycling or something else, and especially in your Christian life, keep it always in your mind that no matter what happens, I will not quit. Keep on going. Keep on serving God. Run the race to the end. Thanks for joining me.